You're listening to the Echo Ratings Eventing Podcast, the show with a light-hearted look at the eventing world, all of the big event previews, reviews, and special guests, and of course, backed up with all of the key Echo Ratings stats. Welcome to the Echo Ratings Eventing Podcast. Welcome to the Echo Ratings Eventing Podcast, and it is time for a cup of tea with Paul and Georgina Tapner. I am delighted to have you both on as our guests on the show. How are we? Welcome.
Oh, g'day, Nicole. Thank you very much for having us.
Sorry, I wasn't paying
George.
Thank you. I'm not very good at these double takes. Sorry.
Right.
That's all right. Listeners, we should say we're on take 2 because we started off... Paul and George were able to sit on the sofa. They had a glass of cider they were sharing. It was all lovely. And the audio didn't come through my microphone very well. And therefore, we have had to regroup and go take 2 once again. But we always start the cup of tea shows with what are we drinking? I've given the game away. We sort of glossed over the fact that actually Paul had drunk George's cider and therefore... I think you were sharing nicely and now not sharing so nicely.
Well, I think we were sharing quite nicely a bottle of cider together, but then the sharing quite nicely ran out when the bottle of cider ran out. I don't know how that happened.
It.
No, you finished it. I don't know what you're talking about.
You haven't lost it.
I did have a glass of wine, but I didn't have very much left in the bottle. Obviously drank it over the weekend because we're recording this on a Monday evening, and so I only had a tiny bit left. Which has long gone. Let's talk a little bit about life, Paul, because obviously your injury last year, your fall was pretty well documented. And I know a lot of people have been asking after you, how is your recovery going?
Yeah, well, thanks very much for asking, Nicole. I'm very well, thank you. I'm having some side effects that are ongoing, but nothing too substantial, nothing that I can't manage myself. And doing those somersaults off my horse and smashing myself up. I did a pretty good job of smashing myself up and putting myself in hospital for a long stay. And the rehab has been equally as long. But thankfully, it's all worked. And mostly I am back to normal or as normal as I have ever been.
Good. And George, how is it from your perspective? Because obviously it has been a hell of a roller coaster over the last, 6 or 8 months?
Yeah, I actually was thinking, I think we're just approaching 6 months now. It has been massive. And I look back to those beginning of those 6 months and the very dark days in August when we weren't sure what was going to happen. And we've come a hell of a long way from then. So I don't like looking back on them too much. But I still now see improvement every week. And even this week, I look at him compared to last week and the week before, and I can still see improvement, which probably to everybody else, it wouldn't be obvious. Like to most people, he is Paul and he's back to himself. But the main thing is the tiredness. He just, he does struggle and he's a workaholic. So he's working continuously and I have to go and pull him out the office or stop him from doing things and make sure he has a bit of a rest. But no, every week, and maybe he'll carry on. Maybe he'll be better than he was before. Maybe he'll keep improving.
Maybe. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, imagine. Well, do you know what? It would be hard earned, to be fair, because it has been a hell of a journey over the last few months. And I know it was really, really tough, but he's been
a good patient though. Like I'm lucky because it has been hard work, and it's been hard work from everybody that surround us, and hard work from the people that have pulled together to help him, the medical team. But you can only do as much as the patient will let you do, and Paul is desperate to be back, and so he has worked hard and he's rested when he's needed to, and he's not pushed himself, but he's on it. He's good. It's good. So he's been a very good patient. Good.
There you go, Paul. I can clip that little bit for you if you like. I
think you might need to do take 3. Actually, I need to.
I don't know if I need to be a good
redo
patient.
it again.
I don't really want to be a good patient. I'd prefer to be good at everything else, but that's fine.
I know, but still, it is good to hear that you're sort of well on the road to recovery and very much looking forward to, I suppose, the challenges that 2021 is going to bring. And the first one being is that there won't, very sadly, be an Event Rider Masters series running in 2021.
Yeah, I know. We're all very sad about this, and clearly none other than yourself, Nicole. You got the early news that the Event Rider Masters 2021 was not happening because you're a key part of the Event Rider Masters team, being our key commentator. So, desperate that we don't get to play and have fun around all the events this year.
I know. It's so frustrating for everybody because the logistics that go into a series like ERM, and there are so many different moving components and people from different countries and travel, and then you start to think about the knock-on effects of quarantine and even knowing whether events are going to be able to run in the first place, and it has made it impossible. And my heart goes out to you all because I know how much hard work has gone into it. And from a purely selfish perspective, I am gutted. I think I might set ERM up in my living room and just rewatch old Event Rider Masters TV and re-commentate on it.
That is the bonus about Event Rider Masters. It's all there to be watched again and again and again and again, and see all your favourites. And we were one of the first equestrian series to pull the plug on 2020 when COVID-19 hit. And unfortunately, we've had to do the same again in 2021 and pull the pin on what we were planning on, and not able to go ahead because it is just such a complicated series to put on and to run and to run at the highest level, the highest level of quality, which we do aspire to and we do.
Yeah, absolutely. It's desperately sad, frustrating, I know, for everybody involved, but still lots to look forward to in 2021 for Team Tapner. Tell me about George, because obviously things are a little bit different this year. Paul has been at home a lot more, won't be travelling this year with ERM, so you are putting him to good use and have launched the Tapner Eventing Academy.
We have. It's all very new, and we're not 100% sure how it's going to work, but we're working our way through it. So it all sort of started because we have taken a step back to pursue different things from 2016 when Paul retired. And one of those things that we've really enjoyed is helping Maddie, our daughter, with her sort of quest to be, at the moment, she wants to be an event rider along with other things. And so we have sort of helped her, and we have a lot of contacts, and obviously we are quite knowledgeable in that area. And it sort of brought us thinking that we have this extra time, and why should Maddie be the only person to benefit from all of that? And there must be lots of other people out there that need steering in the right direction, whether it be just a small bit or whether it be, full on mentoring. And we would like to offer our services to help people.
That's amazing. So is it going to be in person? Is it going to be remote? What's the plan?
Yeah, it's actually both. The thing is that anybody and everybody can get riding lessons, and that's not putting anybody down, but learning how to ride realistically needs to be done one-on-one and needs to be done in person, and you tend to go to your nearest or best riding instructor in whichever phase you want. But it's more that whole mentoring side of things that you would normally get, and what I've been lucky enough to get in a team situation for many, many years. Well, pretty much all of my riding career, I was lucky enough to be involved in teams of some description, and all of that planning and that psychology and that veterinary knowledge and that mentoring and everything that goes alongside running a successful eventing team or a successful equestrian team. Which you just, nobody has lessons on that. Nobody knows how to get that or access that, or unless you are lucky enough to be in an actual team, and there's very few people that get to experience that situation. So we just thought, we have all of this knowledge, and at the moment we do have a bit of time. It shouldn't just be only the people who want to have actual physical lessons from us that can benefit from all of this knowledge. So the academy has grown from that concept that we can bring to the table a whole lot more knowledge than just how to do rising trot or how to get your horse on the bit, or how to do shoulder in. So that's sort of where we're coming from.
I guess it's even just thinking about people stepping up to thinking about competing internationally and doing their first sort of FEI events. That actually, that in itself is a minefield.
The whole thing with your FEI passport and how I know traveling horses abroad at the moment is obviously a bit different because of Brexit, but obviously we've done that, only last year we were taking horses abroad, and we're the same as everybody else, learning the new ropes and things. But yeah, it's that next stage. It's like, okay, so you've got your horse and you've been doing grassroots, but actually you're sort of, you're going to be able to move on. How do you get involved with these young rider teams? How do you go to that next stage? How do you work out your qualifications? Just trying to work your way around the rule book, the FEI rule book and the British Eventing rule book is really hard. Whereas, we have literally had it as our bedtime reading because we had to know the rules inside out. So
yeah,
we know the rules. Yes, there are updates every year, but because we know the rules, the updates are quite easy to just update yourself on. So it's all that kind of information of helping people. It's very holistic. It's not just the riding stage. Obviously, people need help with riding, but there's no reason why they couldn't stay with their own riding trainer and just use us to pluck knowledge of.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's the dream to have those kinds of resources, isn't it, that you kind of are used to, as you've said, Paul, with a team environment or anything like that, but actually to have access to that in a bid to kind of make strides in your own performance, and whether that be to sort of step up internationally or to challenge for young rider junior youth teams in the future as well. And you mentioned there, Paul, sports psychology and the veterinary side of it. It isn't so much more. How has sports psychology, how have you sort of found that in your career? Is it something that you've really applied while you were riding? I mean, obviously you've had to be...
Absolutely. I mean, I was very amazed that 20 odd years ago when I first came to the UK that nobody knew what sports psychology was. I was like, what do you mean you don't know? How do you ever win a competition? Because I'd been lucky enough as a junior and young rider and all the teams I was involved in Australia that they were quite cutting edge in all of the sports psychology that they were exposing me to. And, actually, I say using, that's the wrong word, but using on me. And so it was just normal for me and normal for me to think like that. And I came over here and it wasn't normal. It was like this foreign word. Sports psychology had never been heard of in this country, especially when it came to eventing teams or eventing competition at the lower levels. So it's certainly something that I've embraced all of my career and have a huge amount of knowledge in how it actually applies to eventing and equestrianism.
I was going to say, we've been lucky though. You're not going to have Paul as your psychologist.
He's retrained.
It almost sounded like then you were going to be somebody's psychologist. We do have a trained psychologist that's going to help us in our team.
I mean, imagine the advice, the life advice Paul. That Paul Tapner would give you then.
Yeah.
It's none of it's going to be repeatable. It would
start off very correct, and then it would be, have a beer.
And after 5 beers, the advice would change.
Yeah, exactly.
You mentioned Maddie, your daughter, is she 14 now?
Yes, just turned 14.
She is, I mean, never fails to amaze me whenever I see videos on social media or anything like that, because she is really making a name for herself and obviously very, very passionate. Paul, I know she's already stolen one of your old 5-star horses, but she is really looking to kind of make an impact. Do you think it's something that she will follow through? And if she does, is it something that as a parent, it's hard to watch from the sidelines, or are you relishing it?
I certainly don't find it hard to watch from the sidelines. I'm very much relishing it. I'm very much enjoying it. And very much, enjoying the fact that we have the knowledge, and I say we because both Georgina and I have the knowledge to impart to her if she wants to have it, in every single sense of the imagination, from an professional equestrian setup. We've run a massive equestrian and a massive eventing yard that was truly international. You talk about traveling. Prior to ERM, I mean, okay, I might have been traveling for all the ERMs in the last 5 years as an organizer, but prior to that, the amount of time spent on the road as a professional event rider was immense. So, the professional equestrian or professional eventing team that we ran was very successful, and being able to part all of that knowledge onto Madison. I'm very much enjoying that opportunity.
And the big question, George, obviously you're British. Paul is Australian. Is she gonna ride for Team GB? Please, can we have her?
we both keep
Sorry, Paul.
At the end of the day, what we are really strong about is it's all got to be Maddie's decision. Like, we are there, we back her, but we would never push her to be an event rider if she didn't want to be. She's decided she wants to do eventing, and that's fine. She, just to make it clear that she is getting an education as well. She's not just going to be an event rider. She has to go through A-levels and whatever. But in terms of her, which country, it's up to her. She could be either. However, she has just joined the pony program with Queen Theolette, and they don't have a pony program in Australia. And to be honest, at the moment, traveling is quite difficult, so it's not really going to happen. The long journeys might might take that. And so certainly up until juniors and young riders, it will be GB because they're European championships.
Yeah, absolutely.
Australia have their own championships with the Australasia competitions, but as I said, we are based in England. That makes it doesn't work.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. We will keep her for as long as we possibly can. Guys, good luck. It is really exciting because it is always lovely to see when there has been so much change over the last 12 months. And to be honest, you have to think outside the box a little bit. And this is a really, really exciting project that I know you're both really, really passionate about. You both have so much knowledge. George, you've got various national dressage titles to add to your CV as well. That everybody is involved is going to be really, really lucky to kind of tap into that knowledge. So good luck with it, and thank you for coming on the show.
No worries. We're glad we had a cuppa with you.
I know, it was good. And I have to admit, if anybody needs me for the duration of 2021, I will be binge watching ERM. But for now, listeners, thank you very much. Paul, George, thank you. Good luck. And Maddie Tapner is a name that you need to look out for. So watch this space. But we'll be back very soon with another episode of the Echo Ratings Eventing Podcast. Thanks for listening. Thank you for listening to the Echo Ratings Eventing Podcast. This podcast is available for free on iTunes, Spotify, Podcast Addict, or wherever you usually listen to your podcasts. Make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss an episode. Find us at eventingpodcast.com or search Eventing Podcast on social media.